All of you, I'm sure, would definitely have heard of the TVS Group. The TVS Group was set up a little over 100 years ago, headquartered in the Chennai, Madurai region, and it has companies dealing mainly with the automotive industry. Different types of association, but dealing with the automotive industry. Uh, each business is headed by a family member, and uh, the unique feature of this group is that all these companies are exceedingly well managed. When I say exceedingly, I think that will be an understatement. It's an exceedingly well managed company, good products, good customers, good technologies, ethical practices, good corporate governance, and above all, a very good image in the minds of whoever, all the people who come into contact with this company. This is a very, it's a fact, and this is a unique feature of the TVS group of companies. Now, if I were an investor, I would, without hesitation, invest in any one of those companies. Because I know my money will not be wasted, it will be well spent, and I'll get a steady stream of revenue income from that investment. Okay, this is all fact. Now let's take a hypothetical case. I'll just leave this. Let's take a hypothetical case. Suppose a well-known management consultant, a very internationally well-known management consultant, comes to them and tells them, see, you have a business, your business is very good, a very capable set of people, but I feel your business is very fragmented. Is English okay with all of you? Yeah, okay. I believe your business is very fragmented. If you put all your businesses into one consolidated entity, suppose you call it the TVS Consolidated, you will be able to get a lot of benefits of that consolidation. You will be able to access cheap, risk-free money. You will be able to grow your business. You will be able to, develop technologies, buy technologies, invest in R&D, do a lot of things. A lot of duplication that exists in business today, you will be able to overcome. Like, for example, you have different people from different companies approaching the same customer. If you bring it into one consolidated company, you have only one person going to meet each customer. Overlaps can be reduced. You can have common facilities. Common facilities like R&D facilities, tool room facilities can be commonized. A lot of advantage like this. And he will suggest the structure that you can do it is, you have existing family members looking after the business. They can be moved into a family governing council, which is the policy-making arm of the consolidated entity. The existing professional managers or professional people who take care of day-to-day work can move into executive positions, and that structure, he will try to promote that structure. He will also, to make it a little more effective, he'll say, this is the way all the major companies in this world, all the major family companies in the world are operated like this. He'll give you examples of the Mars family, the Mars chocolate company making the Mars chocolate. He says that company is organized like this. He'll give you examples of the Walton family, saying that the Walton family, the Walmart business organized like this. And he'll say that is the thing. Now tell me, if you are an investor, would you put money into this entity? The question is, if you are an investor, would you put money into this enterprise, consolidated enterprise? I'll answer the question for you. I would not dare to put money into that. I would not dare. If at all I do it, it will be an extreme act of foolhardiness. Now you might ask me, the same company, the same products, the same management, the same people, same technology, everything is same. A lot of benefits of synergy. Why do you say that you will invest in any one of those companies but not in this consolidated company? The answer is quite simple. To my mind, the most important thing in an organization, when I say the most, it is not the most, it is one of the most important things, is structure. Structure decides the success of an organization. A poor business, structured well, has a better chance of success than a good business structured poorly. That's a fact. I think all of you would accept. Okay, now this business of having a family-controlled, policy-making body, a professional executive body, would lead to a very unstable structure. How? It is, because the unstable structure comes from the family, from the fact that families and businesses are very different entities. Families are very relationship-oriented entity. Relationships, feelings, opinions, love, all these things play a big role in the family. While in a business, it is processes, data, hard facts, governance. These are issues which are facing families, businesses. If you bring these two things together, you are creating that unstable structure. Let us see how. Ideally, a group of people sit together and take a decision. How does that decision-making process work? You have various alternatives. The alternatives are placed on the table. People discuss those alternatives. People say, okay, it's discussed threadbare. Each person's opinion is taken. Each person's idea is taken, discussed at length, shortlisted, further discussed, and then you decide on one thing that you need to do or two things that you need to do, and that's how the group works. Ideal, not many groups work like this, but this is a more or less an ideal way of the group should work. Now, just look at how would the family structure work. Similarly, you have a group of problems on the table, discussions going on. Some uncle in the family will have a disproportionate voice in the process. When the uncle says something, somebody else who has an opinion, he will say, I better not voice my opinion, because if I voice my opinion, later on in my family, I'll have a problem. He keeps quiet. Some aunt outside the family council, would have a greater say in the discussions in the family council, even though she's not there. Some young man who might have a very good idea, whose thinking is very good, modern, ideally the best thing for the organization to do, he might find his voice is not heard. He might find that his voice is not heard. He is, voiced out. Because of this, what happens is suboptimal decisions get taken. And when suboptimal decisions get taken, can you expect the organization to work optimally? An organization cannot work optimally if continuously suboptimal decisions are taken. Similarly, if you look at the professionals in the executive branch, each man is extremely ambitious. People by nature are extremely ambitious. These professionals want growth. They want financial growth. They want personal positional growth. They want responsibility growth. All these are growths that they look for. Now, what will a man do? Man is a very political animal. Man is politics. There's nothing wrong with it, but that's the way a human nature is built. That man will say, if I have to further my career, if I have to grow in this company, I better understand who in that governing council is carrying clout, and I cultivate a relationship with him. Similarly, each person in that governing council will have somebody, some friend, some relation, some vested interest in somebody in the executive branch. So, politics, issues. Long-term investments. Again, long-term investments, you sit around for discussion, each person will have his pet project, long-term investments, suboptimal results. So because of this particular kind of a discussion is something which will not lead to optimal results. And I would accept a fact that if maybe you have a point and there is a problem, but in the long run that problem is sorted out. But the situation here is, in the long run, as the family grows, as time passes, the problems will become more and more and more severe, and the problems will never get sorted out this way. Then, what do? The question is, what do we do? To my mind, what we need to do is, we have to get families out of family businesses. We need to get families out of family businesses, and we have to get individuals from families into family businesses. You understand what I'm saying? We need to take families from family businesses out of the business, and we need to bring individuals from families into the business. Families in family businesses, the family businesses have to carry the baggage of a family. And this baggage, it starts off as being very light, very supportive. And eventually this baggage becomes heavy and heavy, heavier and heavier and heavier. And over a period of time, this baggage becomes so very heavy that it crushes the organization. Let us understand how the baggage becomes heavy. When we look at various stages of a family business, the first stage of a family business could be the founder-owner stage. The founder-owner stage is the founder and he's the owner. The money might not be from his pocket. The money might be from his relation, from his father, from some other relation, maybe his uncle. Somebody would have provided the money. For the business, for the founder-owner, the family is important. But for the business, the family is not important. For the founder-owner, his family is important. But for the business, the family is not important. This man is in charge, he takes decisions, he leads the company, he takes it forward. And that's why baggage, you'll find, is extremely light. It is there, it is light, it is supportive. In case he has a problem, he can always go back to the family and work on it. So that's the situation that you have as far as, that's why in that founder-owner stage, the businesses are very, very, very effective. The most effective organization, the business in the family business cycle is in that founder-owner stage. In that founder-owner stage. When it moves from the founder-owner stage into the next stage, where the founder's children come into the business, we call it the sibling partnership, where the siblings come, the brothers and sisters come into a partnership to run the company. Yeah. When that happens, when the sibling partnership comes, then you have, instead of one thought, you have different thoughts. When different thoughts come in, we have problems. I have told this, earlier in one of those meetings, I said, business is like religion. There are different paths to the same goal. You want the same goal, but different paths to the same goal. And you can't say one is right and the other is wrong. So we have three brothers or two brothers and one sister in this business. Each person would say, this is the way I want to grow. Nothing wrong with that. But an organization cannot grow in three different ways. When it grows into three different ways and discussions happen, the baggage becomes heavy. When the baggage becomes heavy, organization starts having a problem. But even at this stage, the baggage is not big enough or heavy enough to kill the organization. It is a problem, but not heavy enough to kill the organization. When it comes to the cousins consortium, which is the next phase, the grandchildren of the founder is in business. When that cousins consortium comes into the business, that's when you have multiple people, different objectives, different goals, different objectives from the business. When these things happen, problems multiply. And when the problem multiplies, you find that business ultimately at one point of time suffer and the business collapses and is crushed. That's why they say family businesses, it is created in one generation, the next generation enjoys, and the third generation destroys. Typically, this is what happens. This is what happens in family businesses. So unfortunately, most of the research that happens in family enterprises is focused around this area, the cousins consortium area, Because most of the fatalities happen in this region, in this stage. Most of the organizations get crushed. Most of the organizations get destroyed in this stage. So most of the research happens in this stage. But this is the least efficient of the stages. So I feel research should not be focused on this stage. Research should be focused on a stage which is the most efficient stage. The founder-owner stage is the most efficient stage. So research should be focused on the founder-owner stage. And unfortunately, research happens this. We don't want companies to barely survive. If you try to fix the organizations at the cousins consortium phase, you find businesses barely surviving, barely moving on from one day to the other. But if you focus on the founder-owner stage, you will find that business not only survives, but business thrives. Business grows. Business is dynamic. Business generates revenue for the country, for the company, for everybody. And that's the area where we should focus on. And in order to focus on that, we feel that we should to understand a little bit more about that particular stage, the founder-owner stage. Typically, the founder-owner stage, it lasts between 25 to 30 years. And there are 6 stages in that. Each one about 5-6 years. Okay, I'll give you a little explanation on that. All of you would have experienced it. Now, it's like if you are, you go from one stage to the other stage. Each stage poses its own set of problems. How effectively you handle that problem decides whether you move into the next phase or not. If you don't handle that problem well, you get wiped out, you get killed. It's like that video game, unless you are good in one stage, you can't go to the next stage. But here in this case, you can't stay at that stage for long. If you have to move from one stage to the other stage, you get killed. So at each stage, you have to understand the problems. You have to take the right decisions. If you take the wrong decisions, you are wiped out. So you have so far come to one particular stage. All of you have taken right decisions. You have come to one particular stage. But what you need to understand is, you need to understand that there are many more stages ahead, and you need to understand problems at that stage, you need to understand solutions at that stage, and you need to think about it. So that's why let me explain these stages a little bit, so that you can understand and find out where exactly in the stage you fit in, so that we could discuss that a little more in detail. The first stage in that thing is the startup phase, where the business has just started, the founder-owner is in control, and this startup phase is a phase where the founder-owner is trying to learn everything. He's trying to get skills. He's trying to amass knowledge. He starts off as a design man, a product, he knows the thing, how it is made, but eventually he has to put a project together. He needs finances, he needs government clearances, he needs to work with banks, he needs to work with quality people, he needs to work with human beings to put it together. He needs HR. So many different skills which he is not aware of. He has to learn all those skills and put up the project. So this is the startup phase. If he doesn't do it well, his product does not meet the requirements of the customer, he is not able to survive. But assuming that he is able to do it, bring out a product which meets the customer's requirement in terms of cost, quality, whatever the customer wants, he is then able to go into the next phase. The next phase is called the growth phase. The growth phase is when the product is so well established in the market that everybody wants more and more and more of this particular product. More and more of this particular product. And he then has to work around the clock to make the product, and then he looks at operating efficiencies to make it. So he's learning a different set of skills to make the product, to make in large quantities, to make it the way the customer wants and deliver the products. He learns that. Then suddenly he realizes that he's working maybe 10 times as hard to make twice the turnover and to get even less than half the profit that he made earlier. No customer is happy. Everybody is pressurizing him. Everybody is under pressure. There are quality complaints. There are theft issues. Human relation problems. There are all these problems. So he sees that this growth, uncontrolled growth, has brought him a lot of problems which doesn't translate into profits, but which is giving him a lot of headache. So from that phase, he moves on to a next phase called the controlled growth phase. The controlled growth phase is when he when he understands the business, when he puts in controls to control the business, when he's getting the desired results out of the business, the profitability that what he wants out of the business, the quality that he wants out of the business, so that his business is a sustainable business model. So that is a controlled business model. After that, he gets into the next phase, which is called the delegation phase. The delegation phase is, he realizes that the bottleneck then has become him. He is the bottleneck. The company can't grow any further. He is the bottleneck. And he has to bring specialists. He needs HR specialists. He cannot learn HR and do everything himself. He has to have quality specialists. He has to have material specialists, production specialists, design specialists. He needs all those specialists to run his business. So he tries to hire and bring those specialists into the business. That is called the delegation phase. And what happens typically is, most of these people, they have the you tend to acquire people from the same age group. And when people in the same age group come, they grow old together also. So at that point of time, then after the delegation phase is almost getting over, he realizes that most of his associates are old, time for them to retire. So the next phase is the succession phase. In the succession phase, you look at two things. One is management succession, where you decide how the company is managed, the management, the succession of the management, which decides the future effectiveness of the organization, and the ownership succession. The ownership succession phase decides how long the company will last. The perpetuity of the company will decide on what actions you take at the ownership phase. And finally, you come to the perpetuity phase, where the owner becomes a passive mentor, and he tries to pass on the long-term policies, guidelines to the next generation, so that they can go on for perpetuity. Now, at each stage there are issues, at each stage there are problems. You are expected to understand what the problem is, solve the problem. Without solving the problem correctly, you can't go ahead. Okay, now in reality it is not, I made it a little difficult to grab your attention, but in reality it is not that very difficult. It is because you must understand that you are not the first person in the world. If you are in a particular phase and you have a problem, you should understand that you are not the first person in this world to have a problem. So many thousands of people before you have had this problem. Neither would you be the last person to have this problem. You can look around you. There are many people who have solved this problem, tried to solve this problem unsuccessfully and got wiped out. You can understand what they have done. There are many people who have tried to solve the problem temporarily, only to have very big major problems come later on in life. You've solved one problem in one phase, and later on in life, at some other point of time, you have some huge major problems coming up. So that's not also the kind of solution that we want. Then there's some types of people who have really solved the problem, taken care of the things, gone to the next phase very successfully. All you have to do is understand, look around, learn, and try to find out what is required at your phase, and try to implement it at that phase. History is a very good teacher. History is also one of the lowest cost teachers. But the most expensive learning, the most dangerous learning, is learning through mistakes. So I don't think you should get into the situation of learning through mistakes. Look around you, talk to you have experts available, you have people with experience available, talk to them so that you have solutions available for that. So, talking about these things, we find that family enterprises are very efficient. Family enterprises is very innovative in the first phase. Okay, and in each organization, in each country, the GDP, 60 to 70% of the GDP of each country is generated by the family enterprises. Family enterprises also are one of the oldest known forms of ownership. They say family enterprises existed before the multinationals came in. Family enterprises came before the Greek civilization, before the Roman civilization. When the advent of economic thinking came, family enterprises were there. It is a very old form of ownership structure. But you would be surprised to know that it is also one of the least researched. research in family enterprises have started maybe even less than 25 years ago. Formal research. Probably it's because being very private, not much of data is available. But research has happened only 25 years ago. And to such an extent that there is very unclear, there is lack of clarity as to what constitutes a family business. The definition, the very definition of what a family business is, there's not much of clarity. You know, I'll give you an example. Suppose you say, would the Tata Group, would that be a family enterprise or would that not be a family enterprise? The Tata Group, would that be a family enterprise or would that not be a family enterprise? The Tata Group, if you say any company which has substantial stake in an organization, that becomes a family concern. Then there was quite a few years ago, there was a thing that Birlas had more shares in Tata companies than Tatas themselves. Now, would that make it a Tata family concern or would that not make it a family concern? Then you would say, not only that, but besides that, if one family member from the founder family is in control of that business, that becomes a family concern. As long as Ratan Tata was managing the family concern, it was okay. But now that Cyrus Mistry, a non-family man, come in, did Tata cease to be family concern the day Cyrus Mistry came in? See, what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of complexity in the definitions also. And unless you know definitions, you're not able to understand the impact, understand what needs to be done. So those things are important. But one thing is sure, family enterprises have a significant impact on the GDP, on every country. So as time passes, you will have more research coming into it, you will have more case studies prepared, you will have more courses coming there from which you can all learn. Even they say, in some of these developed countries, you will have even legislation, which is family business supporting legislations coming in. In future, what might happen is, each legislation that gets passed might have to pass the family business test, whether this is supportive of family businesses or not. It can happen first maybe in some of the Western European countries or the US, and then subsequently it will have to come to India. Business models, financing models might change. So over a period of time, you find more changes happening. But as on now, what we need to do is we need to work out ways where we can look at these family businesses and look at yourself on the structure that I've just defined, find out where you stand, and try best to find out how best you could go ahead. I'm sure, what I've tried to do today so far, I've tried to put a framework in front of you. I have not tried to recommend a solution. I've tried to put a framework in front of you to say these are the various options available. But one thing you must understand, whatever solution you come up with, just because somebody else has done it, you should not implement it blindly in your organization. Those solutions are unique. Solutions are unique for his environment. Somebody in the US does something. We need not implement it here. We have to find solutions which are unique to our environment and try to find out how we can implement things that are unique to our environment. So, having said that, I think once again I would like to thank you. I think I've exhausted my half an hour, and I'm told we are very precise on time. So I once again thank you for giving me this opportunity to be here. I'm sure this has been a very, I think, a kind of very elaborative kind of thought. If you feel it has benefited you, please let me know. If you feel that there are ways in which these kinds of things can be made more beneficial, do let me know again. I'll be eager to know what your feedback is. Thank you.